What's up everyone, it's Kelly and today I've got another swatch review for you. So today we are talking about the latest from Ice Cream Nails. I've got their Holo Party Collection, which is 10 brand new full coverage linear holo nail polishes in a rainbow of colors. Actually, technically not a rainbow, but they are a rainbow of my favorite colors to wear on my nails. So I was very excited about this color story, but this collection is actually part of their Ice Cream Nails Plus formula. So it is a little bit different from their usual line. We don't have the typical ice cream cone shaped polishes. This is their longwear formula and it does come in a rectangular bottle, but this line is still 10 free, meaning it is free of 10 of the potentially harmful ingredients that can be found in nail polish. It's still vegan, meaning they do not use any animal derived ingredients, and it's also cruelty free, meaning it's not tested on animals. It's also plant-based and breathable and halal friendly. But yeah, this is their new line. They're calling it their longwear formula. But anyway, let me just get into the swatches. We've got 10 new polishes, like I said. I'm going to swatch all of them. I'm going to show you what they look like with direct lighting, which is usually the best way to see holographic polishes. And then we can talk a little bit more about my thoughts on them, where to buy them, price, all that good stuff. So roll the swatch footage. So as with all of my swatch and review videos, I am using base coat underneath all of my swatches just to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. Today it's the Orly Bonder base coat. Starting off with the shade Banger, this one is described as a lilac linear holo. So we've got this very pinky toned medium light purple shade, and we've got a lot of holographic sparkle running throughout. And I gotta say, this Ice Cream Plus formula is just so smooth and workable. You can see it's just really buttery and easy to apply, so definitely appreciated that. It also had just a really good brush, so I loved that as well. This one gave me full coverage in 2 coats, but one thing that I notice with holographic polishes, especially linear holo, is that it tends to look more holographic once the polish is dry. You can of course use top coat over it, and I always recommend doing top coat over it, but once that top coat is dry, I also think that's when it looks at its most holographic. So I'm going to show you what each polish looks like when it's dry, and here you can see it definitely had a lot of that linear holo sparkle, slightly bigger holo particles than I've seen from Ice Cream Nails in the past, but it looks really good. And then we have the shade Have a Blast. This is another purple linear holo, but this one is on the cooler side, so it's got a little bit of a bluish undertone to it, and again, just a very smooth, easy, workable formula. I did get full coverage in 2 coats, and again, I was really impressed with the size of the holo particles in here. I think what it is they're smaller holo particles to create that linear holo, but then there's just a little added extra fleck in there that's very slightly larger, and I think that's what's catching the light, and it looks really beautiful. Again, you can see it's more holographic once it dries, and I think it's even easier to see where it's kind of out of focus, and that's where you can kind of see the rainbow. But another really beautiful color, nice medium light kind of purple shade. Next up we have the shade Lose Control, and this one I want to call this a denim blue because I feel like it's just that classic denim kind of color. Also, one thing I did want to mention, some of my bottles, the holo particles and pigment kind of stuck to the front of the bottle, but that didn't affect the amount of holo that was in the bottle. Sometimes that can happen with certain glitters, but it shouldn't affect what's going on in your actual polish. But anyway, this is a really beautiful shade. Again, I think it's that combination with the silver holo particles in there that almost give it that denim kind of look, but it's also a very denim color, and again, looks a little bit more holographic once I waited for it to fully dry, and it's just a really beautiful shade. It feels like a very good summer color. Moving on, we have the shade Riviera Rave, and this one was actually a standout for me. As soon as I started applying it, I immediately fell in love. It's just this really vibrant teal color, again with that linear holo coming through, and it does have those slightly larger particles as well, and it was also pretty impressive opacity. I did need 2 coats for full coverage, but it was pretty nice in the first coat. I will say this one did end up being slightly less holographic than the others that I've shown you so far, but I still think this color is absolutely stunning. It just reminds me of the ocean, and I don't know, it's just so vibrant and beautiful. And then we have the shade Do You Party, which is the first of 2 greens in the collection. This first one is sort of like a light grass green, and this one is such a stunning shade. Every time I see this sort of lime green color that has that very slight cool undertone to it, I immediately fall in love. I was just really impressed with the color, and I also just love the way that it looks in holographic form. I feel like the blue in the rainbow holo pigment kind of stands out a little bit more to me, and I think it just makes it look so beautiful and vibrant. So again, 2 coats for full coverage. Looks really gorgeous on. Next, we have the shade Blowout. This is the second green polish in the collection. I'm always happy when I see more than one green because I feel like brands aren't so keen on doing green polishes very often, but this is a really stunning one. This one's more of a deep forest green, and again, really nice coverage in that first coat, but I did need a second for full coverage, and it did have that gorgeous holo sparkle in there. And this one, for whatever reason, it looked like it maybe had more of that larger holo pigment in there, so it almost gave a little bit more of a scattered holo vibe, but you could still see the lines of rainbow, especially when I moved my nail around towards the light. You could see those linear holo lines. Moving on, we have the shade Bougie, and this one is your classic black linear holo polish. So another one I was super excited about, and again, just really nice coverage in that first coat, but in the first coat it did look a little bit warmer just because some of my skin tone was showing through, so I did need a second coat just to make that a true black on my nails. Again, a really gorgeous polish. The formula, I just cannot get enough of this formula. It's so easy to use, so I definitely appreciated that. It's another super holographic one. The bigger holo particles catch the light so nicely, and it just looks really beautiful. Next up, we have the shade Throwdown. This one is a deep crimson red holo. So this one was a really gorgeous shade. I absolutely love a deep red like this, especially around this time of year. But I will say red nail polish, especially when it's a deeper color like this, tends to look a little bit less holographic in my experience. So this was another one that ended up looking pretty subtle on me. I didn't see too much of the holo in my usual direct lighting. You could still see a little bit of that holo rainbow line coming through, but in general, I don't know, there's something about this deep red that kind of obscures holo pigment. And then we have the shade Rager. This is actually another red linear holo, but this one is more of a coral kind of red. It definitely has that pinky undertone to it. It's a super bright color, and this coverage was amazing. This was actually fully a 1-coater on my nail length, which was so nice, and I feel like that would also be really incredible for nail art, but I did end up doing a second coat just to show you what that looked like. And again, I found that it was a little bit more subtle. You could still see a little bit of that rainbow holo line in there, but again, there's just something about red nail polish that just looks slightly less holographic to me. It's still a really beautiful shade. I love how vibrant it is, and I was just really impressed with the opacity. And the final shade of the collection is this one, Glow Up, and this one is an almost neon pink base that has the linear holo running throughout, as well as those slightly larger holo flecks. And this one was really interesting. It actually did give me pretty much 1-coat coverage. Again, really impressive opacity. But the one thing I did notice about this one is that in my regular lighting, it did not look holographic at all. It did look more holo in the bottle, but on the nails, it really didn't show too much. And I wonder if it's just how it reacted to that super bright base color. It also did dry down to a slightly matte finish, and even then I didn't see that holo sparkle at all, so a little disappointed in that. Ice Cream Nails has done some neon holos before, and they're really beautiful, so I was expecting this one to be pretty holographic, but it's still a pretty shade. So here are all the shades together, and I have to say, looking at this color story together, this is pretty much all of my favorite colors to wear on my nails together in one collection. So I really love that. Definitely a beautiful color story, and I think the colors play really nicely together. I know I've been saying this so much lately, but I do think that you could get a lot of really good Skittle manicures out of this collection. I will say the majority of them were not as holographic as I have seen from Ice Cream Nails in the past, but I do really appreciate this formula, and I think the colors are beautiful. I don't always need to have a super bright in-your-face holographic polish. Sometimes it's nice to have a little bit more of a subtle look, so I can definitely see myself wearing a lot of these shades, especially around this time of year, but just something to keep in mind. So let me talk a little bit more about that. So yeah, those are the polishes, and overall I am happy with them. I will say, as you can see, the holographic pigment is a little little bit more subtle. I did use direct lighting for my swatches, which usually you can see the amount of holo that is in there, and I did find it to be a little less rainbowy in that line of holo that you get with linear polishes, but I still was able to see some of that holographic sparkle, and I do think that these ones are more holographic in the sunlight. If you are looking for more holographic polishes, I would say the Ice Cream Nails regular line, they have a bunch of holographic polishes that I have reviewed before. I find those to be a little bit more holographic, so I definitely recommend checking those out if you're interested in more holo. But talking more about these Ice Cream Nails Plus polishes, I did still really enjoy them. I appreciated that the holo pigment in there didn't dull out the colors, so they were still super vibrant, which is something I think Ice Cream Nails does really well. I do actually find the Plus formula to be super easy to apply, so definitely enjoyed the formulas. They were super smooth, super self-leveling. I would say definitely a very beginner-friendly formula. So yeah, like I said, even though they were a little bit more subtle than the regular Ice Cream Nails line, I actually did really enjoy these, and sometimes I do want to focus a little bit more on the color itself, and I did find that to be the case with a lot of these. So yeah, overall, I thought they were really good. So now let's get into pricing and availability. All of these polishes come in 12 milliliter bottles. They do have the rectangular bottle shape, and they do feature a wide flat brush that has a rounded tip. This Holo Party collection also comes with special edition caps, so all of them are gold. And they retail on the Ice Cream Nails website for $15 USD each, but I do also have a discount code, so you can use the code KELLI20 to get 20% off your order there. They are based in Australia, but they do ship internationally, and they have a US website as well. So in the US and Australia, they do offer free shipping over $50. But yeah, I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. What do you think of these polishes? Have you tried the Ice Cream Nails Plus line, and do you think it's different from the regular line? What do you think of these slightly more subtle holo polishes? Definitely let me know in the comments. We can chat about it. If you enjoy my swatch and review videos, please give this one a thumbs up. It really helps me out. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I put out new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And of course, a huge shout out to my supporters on Patreon, my Royal Astronomer Amanda M, as well as my Cosmic Admirals Paula, Ken, and Rosie. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye. Today's fun fact question comes from Patreon supporter Christina, and Christina wants to know, which advent calendars are you considering this year? So if you watch my vlog channel, you probably know this. Actually, you probably know this from my main channel as well. I am a lover of advent calendars. I love the idea of buying something where the contents are a surprise, and then every day I get a little treat to open. And I call it a treat, but I mean literally anything. Like, it can be nail polish, it can be a crystal, it can be hot chocolate, anything. I love an advent calendar. Last year I bought so many. So I did start looking this year for advent calendars for December 2023. And I have to be honest, I haven't really found as much that speaks to me as I did last year. I try not to spoil myself for what's going to be inside the calendar, but I do like to make sure that I'm getting the value for what I'm paying. And I just feel like there have been a lot of advent calendars that I have seen, and then I saw another product that the company makes, like a sampler of something, and it costs significantly less, but you get a lot more. Just to give an example, I did see a little mini perfume advent calendar, which excited me so much because I really love wearing perfume. But then when I was looking at the listing and trying not to spoil myself for the specific perfumes, I was just reading how many of each one there is. And then I saw there was also like a, you might also like this. And it was a perfume sampler set from the same brand, but you got like twice as many products for the same price. So I was like, well, why would I buy the advent calendar? But I also just like the surprise of like opening the door. So it's kind of a struggle to figure it out. I think what I am going to do this year is probably buy some like empty advent calendars at like Michael's or Home Goods or something. And then I'm going to buy sampler packs of things that I'm interested in and make Ryan put them together for me. Because I still like the surprise of each day, but I just feel like, I don't know, sometimes they get to be a little expensive. Also, if you want my biased opinion on a good nail polish related advent calendar, I still have my 13 Days of Halloween advent calendar, which I think also could work as a holiday advent calendar. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what kind of advent calendars you're looking for, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.